Hello out there in TV land. Who needs TV when you got T-Rex? That's my question for you. Hey, listen, we're also running for the radio. Running for the radio. Who needs TV when you got T-Rex? Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Your city, your voice. Paul K. Lemire, 48. Oh, man, it's Friday. You can tell it's Friday. Silly season Friday. It is 4680Q. That's where we're broadcasting out of. Yeah, for all my radio guys, welcome to the show to the radio guys, too. Yes, sirree. It's finally Friday, March the 7th. Show number 480. Believe it or not. And you're involved. You're here. You're watching. Good. Don't forget, subscribe. If you are tuned in, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. You'll get a notification when I post a new video. And they usually are on by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon every day. And yeah, look at this weather. Crazy weather. Look at it's a beautiful, sunny, partly cloudy day, but it's cold. There's a good wind kicking up. It's about 35 degrees out there. Yeah, it's a lot nicer out there. It looks a lot nicer than it really is. And, I've talked to a lot of people. They feel crappy, man. They got sinus problems and everything. Well, when the weather's up and down like this, yeah, that's what's going to happen. I mean, you're 50 degrees one day and then you drop down to 25 the next. That's insane. It's crazy. That's what we have here in March in Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. Winter's back and then summer's here. But good news is the next week or so, we're going to warm up into the 40s, maybe hit the 50s. And the rodent, that little rodent that comes out of that hole predicting the weather on Groundhog Day, February 2nd, his 6 weeks are up. That's it. You're going to be in the stew. You better get the hell out here and tell us what the weather's going to be again. But your 2 weeks are up, buddy, this week. Next week, that's it. One more week and you're done. Okay, so let's wrap up the week with these stories from North America and local and all over the place. Niagara Falls. We'll start right off in Niagara Falls. Little old Niagara Falls. A lot to talk about. First, let's talk about my sponsors. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. We look out here, we see this nice weather. Nice. It's not that nice. It's cold out, but it's at least nice out there. You get some sun. But still, your car needs to be taken care of and you want to be proactive. That's right. You want to get your car in to Wild Bill's Auto Repair, get Ken Wheeler to check it out for you and make sure that it's running A1 tip top, no breakdowns. He's going to throw it on his computers, give it a scan, see what's up with any problems, fix them, get you out the door. You're going to be happy. Your car's going to be happy. Everybody's going to be happy. And I'm sure in the next little while he's going to announce some kind of a summer checkup where you can go in, get everything checked, get your oil changed, make sure all your air conditioning's working, all your summer systems, your brakes are good, your everything's safe. Now, if you happen to get in a smash 'em up derby in the next few days, next weeks, doesn't matter. Ken's got a full body shop down there. That's right. He'll take your car in, fix it, get it out in showroom condition. That's the way he works over there at Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Give him a call today. WildBillsAuto.ca is the website. Make an appointment. Get your car checked out. Be proactive. Don't wait for a breakdown. That's when you get really mad and you say, dang, I should have listened to Paul over at Your City, Your Voice and taken his advice. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Give him a call today and check in with him. Tell him Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. Okay, oh my goodness. Facebook is a never-ending source of news for me. There's a lot of ridiculous stuff, and I just get rid of a lot of people too, I can't take it. It drives me nuts sometimes. But there's one page that always works on the premise, fake news is better than no news. And for some reason, they involve me in this fake news. I don't know why they involve me, but they always do. They always got my name in one of these things they write, no matter what it is. And they name me so often that people think I'm writing it. I'm the one writing it, but I'm not writing that. I have nothing to do with it. But they keep me in the news, so you know what? They're not a trustworthy source of any kind of news around the city. And that, I mean, they said Mona Patel was backing the Indian candidate from Toronto, Shafali Kapoor, and she wasn't. They just put it on there. So whatever they say, take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of times they work on the premise we're going to put this outrageous stuff on here, and then we'll wait for whoever we say it about to say it isn't so. Right? That's how they work. We'll put it on, and when they deny it, then we'll say, well, they didn't do it. Okay, so that's how they work. So I'm not an investigative writer. I mean, I don't write anything here. I do my show. I script my show so I know what I'm going to talk about, of course. But I let the professionals like Grace Spiteri and Allison Langley and Bill Sawchuk and Johnny Law and all these other guys who's their job to go in and get the story and get the news. I let them do that, and then I take it, reiterate it, and give my commentary on it. I do commentary. And these guys on this page, I'm not even going to give them credit. I'm not even going to name the page on Facebook because they're so ridiculous. I'm not naming them. They can name me all they want in their articles and that kind of thing, but I'm not going to name them. I'm not going to name the page. But these Malamugats, they 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 tell me, oh, they tell everybody because they're posting on there that Wayne Gates is my best friend, and Wayne Gates is and I sponsored Wayne Gates, and he sponsored my show and all. They keep saying this crap, and obviously, if they watch the show, they'd know better than saying that. And then there's a couple other people who keep saying that Kelly, I can't remember her last name, it's not worth it, who posts on there and says the same thing, right? And they're going, the only people I've had on my show is Carolyn Iannone and Councilor Lori Go and Wayne Gates. And I'm going, like you guys, they're whacked. They're wacky. I mean, I've never had Wayne Gates on my show ever. And then they say, well, how come you don't have anybody else on your show? Well, I've had a lot of guys. I mean, if you've been listening to my show for the last 3 years, you'll see during the election, I had Councilor Lococo on, Carolyn Iannone, who was running candidate for regional government. Bob Gale, I've had on more than once. Joyce Morocco came on. She was a candidate for, I think, MPP at one point in time for the Liberals. Kim Crater, of course, he was the MPP for the Liberals. MP Tony Baldinelli's been on my show. Jody Burdett, independent candidate, was on my show. Peter Terrace from Fort Erie, the PPC party candidate in Niagara riding, he was on my show a couple times. And not to mention every candidate for city council. When the election was 2 years ago, when they had the election, every candidate from city council was on my show. So where these people get these lies, this fake news. Fake news is one thing. These are out no lies. That just shows you they just talk. They don't listen to anything. Like they're really a bunch of goops. Yeah, they are. They're a bunch of galoops. So these people. And I say I'm not gonna name the fake news page. I'm not gonna give them any credit on my show. If they want to keep talking about me, thank you very much. More people are looking. They're gonna listen to see what I have to say about all these accusations that aren't true, and they're gonna find out that it's not true. But I'm not gonna give them any press at all. Heck with them. Heck with them. But the one that gets me the most is I'm buddies with Wayne Gates. They tell me that I never had any other candidates on the show except Wayne Gates and NDP people. And meanwhile, he's the only guy I haven't had on the show. And I really don't want him to come in here. If he asks me to come on, hey, come on in. But I'm not asking him. I'll tell you that right now. But they're getting my name out there. That's good. I'll get more subscribers every day. Subscribe to the channel. See what's going on. Now, there hasn't been a lot of viewer comments in the last few days, so I'm not going to really read off any viewer comments. We'll do that on Manic Monday. We'll see if there's more comments by Monday. I guess I haven't said anything controversial enough to elicit comments. That's hard to believe because a lot of the stuff I see and I comment on does not does not jive with a lot of people in this city, especially because I like Trump. I'm a Trump guy. So a lot of people hate him. Orange man, bad, Cheeto man, Southern psychopath, these left wing liberal loony radicals. Yeah, so I can't believe they're not commenting on my show. I mean, I figured I'd see some comments from them. Trump is this, Trump is that, blah, 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 Orange man bad, TDS. But no. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get more on the weekend. I don't know, but this one page though, they can give me enough information to talk about for the next 5 years because they just throw stuff out there, and most of it is just nonsense. Okay. Tariff Smariff. That's what I see. Niagara wineries are smiling big right now as their products begin to fill the shelves where the U.S. wineries used to be. And their wines from Niagara, and other Canadian wines, but from Niagara predominantly, are starting to get on the shelves of the LCBOs, and that they're taking up the empty shelf space that happened when that big Mama Luke, um, Doug Ford, said to pull all the booze off the shelves, which is the stupidest idea ever. Really, really dumb. Because you got all this stuff warehoused. Why not sell it? Throw 25% on it. Sell it for a higher price. People will buy it. People want Jack Daniels. Sell it for a higher price and make the province some money. I don't understand why they would just pull it off the shelf and call it a day. They're crazy. They're crazy. And that's what he said to do, and that's what they've done. And a lot of people around here, they just poo-poo the wine from the region. Oh, I like this, I like that, I like Italy, Portugal, Spain, Venezuela, California, whatever. They poo-poo the wine around here. Well, guess what? I think now you're going to see this buy Canadian trend start them off on drinking this wine. And you know what people are like? When they find something they like, they're creatures of habit. They keep on keeping on with it. They don't give it up. And once they get to like that, they may not go back to these other wines from the United States and that. And definitely, they're not going to be getting any Jack Daniels or Tito or any of that stuff because that's all been pulled off the shelf too. But the wineries are going like this. Okay, now's our chance. Now's our chance. Restaurants are ringing their phones off the hooks looking for suitable wines to replace the American wines that they can't get anymore. Once their stock is out, they're done. The California Reds, California Whites, California Wines. And Paul Speck, president of Henry Appellum Winery, says that restaurants, grocery stores, and other locations are reaching for Canadian wines in bigger numbers. He said that exports to the U.S. make up their sales, like 1% of their sales, but it's not their main export market anyways. So, and my thought is that with the Canadian dollar sitting at 50% of a discount, in other words, you have to pay $1.50 for $1 American, or on the other hand, you get a Canadian dollar for like about 60 cents US. And even with the tariffs, the wines coming from Canada are probably still going to be competitive. And those that like the Canadian wines will still buy them if they're still exporting them. I mean, they export them, they're just going to put a tariff on them. So they're anticipating sales will go down. But with the 25% extra because of the Canadian dollar, they might not see that much of a decline. So he is looking for a decline, this gentleman from Henry Appellum. But he's more looking at it from the aspect of people will have to pay more for a lot of things. That's just going to take extra money that they had to spend on things like wine and entertainment, going out to restaurants and that kind of thing. So there may be a decline that way, not so much because of the tariff itself. He would like to see them, of course, end as soon as possible, like everybody else probably, and get everything back to where it was. He says this is just crazy. It's economics 101. That this is the worst thing you could do. Talking about Doug Ford, especially in an integrated economy such as ours. And pulling the wines off the shelf is not is like it doesn't it hurts them directly. So the guy who runs JD Jack Daniels, the distillery that makes Jack Daniels, he's kind of looking at it, going, our percent of the market is very very small, like 1%. And I think I said that for Henry Appellant, but they said they export 25% of their market to the U.S. So it's a little bit bigger than I just said. But the guy from Jack Daniels said that JD in Canada is about 1% of the market. That's all they have, Canada, for JD. So he says it's not a big deal. Like, we'll miss the 1%, but it's not going to hurt us, not going to kill us. But he says this kind of a tariff, or no, sorry, not the tariff, but this kind of action, when they pull it right off the shelf, that's a different story. Like, let us stay on the shelves, charge more if you want, but let us stay on the shelves. But when you pull us off, we don't even have a chance for sales. Yeah, not even a chance. So he's a little bit upset about that whole part of it. And JD, of course, people like Jack Daniels and they like Tito and everything else. So it's pretty crazy that Doug Ford would take this approach, because it cuts Americans right off of dollars and cents. The tariffs aren't as bad as just saying pull them off the shelf. So it's pretty wild that he would do that. And the guys from Jack Daniels, they're going, well, that's not really fair. That's not really fair, because at the end of the day, they shouldn't be doing it that way. That's his thing. They shouldn't be doing it that way. Now, personally, I think that the Canadians, as they abandon U.S. goods in favor of Canadian goods and stay in Canada for vacations, the wineries may be in a great position to not only meet their sales objectives, but to grow the Canadian clientele, and most importantly, keep them, as they try the Canadian vintage wines and actually like them. A lot of people are snobby, right? We're not going to drink Ontario wine. We're going to go to some other wine from somewhere else. But actually, the Ontario vintage wines are as good as anything around the world. They won all kinds of awards for their wine. So yeah. Anyway, for the complete story on this whole debacle, go to the review and look at the story by Karina Walter, reporter for the Standard, for a great article, good writer, and you'll be interested in it. And I was talking about the Jack Daniels and those guys, and yeah, he's really bummed out by our blowhard premier's action on just taking them right off the shelf. He calls it a disproportionate response to it. And of course, bars, restaurants, they're not going to be able to restock their Jack Daniel supplies because they can't get it, because the LCBO is the only game in town. It's the only place you can buy liquor. You got to go through the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. But he also says Canadian sales don't amount to a big deal, and they can take a small hit. But Ford's directive is frustrating, because just adding the tariffs would have been the way to go. Of course, Ford, being the blowhard that he is, says it's a tremendous hit for American producers, and Canada needs to dig in for a long fight. Oh yeah, he doesn't want to solve this. He's just going to fight with tariffs. And April 2nd, Trump's going to jump the tariffs to 50%. So get ready for that, Dougie boy. You want a long fight, you're going to get it. And Doug, he's like a mosquito on someone's arm, irritating, but not dangerous. I mean, that the mosquito bite isn't going to kill you, unless you get some encephalitis or something like that, some really bad thing. But usually they don't kill you. And you know what? What do you do with a mosquito? You swat it to death, and that's it. That's it. It's going to end probably not in the good favor for Dougie over here. So Yeah, you can pick your battles, though. This is the battle you want to fight on. Be my guest. But sales have been down in the United States and Canada for Jack Daniels, and the company laid off about 12% of its workforce early in the year to cut costs. Um, Let me give you a little secret here for us guys on the border in Niagara Falls or in the vicinity, Hamilton South, say. Um, you can still get Jack Daniels. And you can get it all that you want. All you have to do is just cross that border, go to a liquor store, buy bottles of Jack Daniels, declare them at the border, pay the customs duty, taxes, and tariffs, whatever the heck's on them, and you can get as much Jack Daniels as you want. It's probably going to cost you maybe a few dollars more than say if you bought it at the liquor store here. But at the end of the day, you can still get all you want. Now, bars and that they're in a little bit different um, place because you can't buy it to resell it. So bars can't go there and buy it, then put it in their bar. That's a big no-no. So you definitely want to, if you own a bar, stay away from that, or keep your old bottles that have been tagged and fill them up with it, and pretend you never did run out and keep them out in your car. I'm not saying to do that. I'm not saying to do that, but I'm saying that there's ways around every rule. That's all I'm telling you. You think hard enough, you'll find a way around the rule. Oh, now what else we got here? So there's the wineries. They're chiming in. They're chiming in. And this is the wildest headline in the review. There was this headline. I'm looking at it going, like, what is this? The headline read, Niagara Ukrainians shocked by U.S. treatment of Zelensky, now buoyed by European support. So the Ukrainians who were shocked by Zelensky's treatment at the White House was that Tuesday or something? They're now feeling better because Europe supporting Zelensky. I don't know. What's lost on these people is that Zelensky is a criminal, money laundering dictator that has sent a whole generation of Ukrainian men to their death. Do they not get that, or why would they be shocked that President Trump was trying to barter a peace deal and he wants to end the killing, would be totally PO'd at a guy that agreed to deal, then double crossed him on national TV? Why would they think a guy like Trump wouldn't be mad that this was a done deal? Why wouldn't he be mad when a criminal double crossed him? Now, I'm not Ukrainian, but I do have several Ukrainians that are good friends of mine, and they despise Zelensky and what he's done to the country and the people. They're not very happy with Europe propping him up and vowing to fight a war that is never going to end with Russia. It's never going to end. It's going to end one way or the other. Yeah, eventually Russia will just beat their ass if nobody gives them any kind of support. But it's not going to end up good. And you're killing off a whole generation of men. They're like Trump. They want this war to end and end now and start rebuilding Ukraine. I call it Ukraine. I know the Ukraine, okay, but I call it Ukraine and the Ukrainians. Now, the ones that are supporting Zelensky say they're dismayed at watching the president and vice president tag team up against him, and Zelensky didn't know what hit him. Oh, come on, really? You think Zelensky didn't know that he double crossed Trump and there'd be hell to pay? I mean, if he didn't, that means he's incompetent and should go back to stripping and acting. Because if he thought he was going to go in there and change the deal in front of national TV that he already made with Trump, then he's way up there. He's incompetent. Some claim that Zelensky was fighting for the future of his country. I mean, you know what? A bombed out shell of a country with no men between the ages of 16 and 50? I think the future of this country depends on this war stopping and the rebuild starting. I mean, they've already lost a generation. There's nothing left. They say they want to live in peace. That's what they're telling everybody. Yet the man who wants to broker that peace is their enemy. And they're shocked by what he said to Zelensky. It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, to be honest with you. Europe helping in that fight does nothing to stop the killing and rebuild their country. Nothing. Yet they support Europe, supplying boots on the ground, more money, and weapons. How can they make sense of this? And how can they be happy with Europe? They're boosted by the support. I mean, listen, the sooner everybody stops working with fists and starts working with handshakes, the better off it's going to be for Europe and Ukraine. I mean, World War III is truly on the horizon if these parties do not come together for peace. It really is. I mean, that's you can almost put money on it if they don't get this thing settled. And Trump's working with Putin as hard as he can to get this thing settled. Trump doesn't want war. He's a businessman. War is bad for business. The sooner he gets this straightened out, the sooner he can help with Nord Stream 2. He wants to be involved with that, get that back going for Europe. And the sooner he can start helping to mine those minerals and get money to these countries. He wants to make money. Trump is a businessman. He's looking for opportunities. There's opportunities there. He will do anything he can to make that opportunity come true for the United States. And part of making that come true is to actually have a ceasefire and a peace agreement in place. And that's it. That's it. That's all. Okay, my second sponsor. Let's get over to my second sponsor. I get happy when I talk about pizza. And Victoria Avenue Pizza is the pizza that I like to get when I get pizza. Why? Because they know what they're doing over there. They use the Mancini family recipe for sauce and crust. Mike takes brick cheese and mixes it with Saputo mozzarella to give you that really nice tasting cheese and stretch. And he also uses fresh ingredients on his pizza. You can't go wrong. You get Mike to build you a pizza. It's going to be built right. It's going to be cooked right. It's going to be delivered hot to your door, hot and fresh. Fantastic pizza they make over there. But if for some reason you don't like pizza, they have everything. They have panzerotti, poutine, steak and cheese poutine, steak subs. They have excellent chicken wings. Excellent chicken wings. They know how to cook them buffalo style. So they're not a one-trick pony. All you have to do is pick up the phone, 905-374-2222, or go to pizzavictoria.ca, and you'll see their whole menu. You see everything they have to offer. You can order yourself a dinner. Also, they're open until 2 in the morning on Friday and Saturday for your convenience, around 10 or 11 during the week. But still, you come back from a night out and you need a pizza and to watch the Fright Night movies on TV. Guess what? Victoria Avenue Pizza. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. Support our sponsors because they support the city and they support this show. And don't forget to subscribe to the show. It helps the algorithm. It helps the show get out to more people. The more people that see it, the better. Let's get involved. We have an election coming up. We might have one in not so far future for the feds, but 2026, October 2026, just a year and a half away, 18 months. We have another one for the city, and we want to straighten this city out and take our city back. Okay. So come on. Let's get peace. We need peace. All you're saying is give peace a chance. It's really, really amazing how this tariff stuff has taken over the news. I mean, I look at the review, and 90% of the stories right now have to do with tariffs, how they're going to affect the Niagara region. Nobody's talking about the 20% carbon tax that we're going to get zapped with on April 1st, or the 5 or 6% increase on booze that's automatic now. It automatically goes up in price every year. These are automatic increases without even having to vote an increase in. This is the way they work this government that we have. But the other 10% is about crime and good news. I mean, crime's running wild in Niagara Falls here. It's ridiculous the number of arrests and everything else, and then these people that are getting arrested, they're not like this isn't their first rodeo. They got a string of charges from here to Toronto, and they just keep getting let out, let out, let out, let out. The police know who they are. Go to Bramaladesh, round up the usual suspects. It always seems to be the same, and a lot of times they don't even give you the names, but when they do, you know. I mean, we look at the articles, and here's the crime: two people arrested for fentanyl and other drugs. A guy that tried to lure a teen to an Niagara hotel for sex, an underage teen. Human remains found by the 140 in Welland. Man charged with accused of charged with careless driving that killed a pedestrian in Niagara Falls. They got him. He's lives in Thorold. Building building on fire in St. Catharines. There's a building that was on fire in St. Catharines. Man accused of choking a woman he met online is arrested. Duo arrested for drugs in Fort Dreary. And what else? That's about it that I saw. There's probably 5 or 6 headlines that all had to do with crime, and then of course the big one, they caught those bunch of people. What the hell were they doing? Robbing LCBOs. They're going in, a bunch of them. There's about 20 Singhs involved. The Singh crime family there, and they all got arrested too. But they'll all be out. They'll all be out stealing again. Doesn't matter. They let them all out. So I guess the tariff supersedes anything else going on in the world right now. And they may be gone today. I mean, we're looking at what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in the Ukraine. Um, uh, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Yet, all we hear about is the tariffs, Canada tariffs. Doug Ford and Le Petit Patat yelling and screaming and putting tariffs back and threatening and everything else. But really, if they were smart, they'd just go along with them and try to reconcile the whole thing with Trump. Because Claudia Scheinbaum, she discussed the situation with Trump rather than making useless threats from Mexico and beating the sovereignty war drum. And he took the tariffs off Mexico. Took the tariffs off Mexico. Yeah, she was trying to solve the situation with Trump rather than beating her chest and telling him what she's going to do. I mean, these guys who run the province, Ford and Trudeau, they really don't get it. They don't understand how Trump operates. I mean, they're just self-indulgent clowns that couldn't run a one-car parade if they had to. And of course, never negotiate, never have a chance of negotiating the biggest deal to hit Canada. Like, this tariff thing. It's a big deal. And they're yelling and screaming, Canada's not for sale. Well, nobody has to buy it. Canada will not be annexed. Wasn't Canada annexed by Britain a long time ago? So, so why would an annexation by the U.S. be that terrible? I mean, you're right here. You're a mile away. There's a border I can see about from here. Would it be that bad, really? It'd be the best thing that ever happened to Canada. We're invited to the party and we don't want to go. Oh man, I don't get it. But Mexico seems to be doing okay. They got it. She knows how to talk to Trump and deal with him. A lot smarter than our guys. Now, speaking of tariffs, the reason that tariffs went on was because of the fentanyl drug problem and that. And that's what the executive order Trump signed was about. It wasn't about anything else. They're saying they're going to break Canada and then they'll be able to just go take it over, all this other stuff he's accused of. But the bottom line is, it was the executive order was signed because of the fentanyl problem. And everybody's going, no, no. But the RCMP confirmed that there are over 4,000 organized crime families and organizations operating in Canada, producing, selling, distributing, and exporting fentanyl. Everybody thinks about the product, but the product is only one problem. It's the chemical ingredients, the raw materials coming from China and other places that are as big a problem as the actual end product. It's not just the finished product that Trump is looking to stop. These raw materials, chemicals usually, are channeled through Canada because of their weak border policies. And we're not talking about the border policy on the 49th parallel. We're talking about the ports. We're talking about the airports and everything else. And they're all tightening up as we speak. But not good enough for Trump. He's the petit patat called them and said, hey, here's what we've been doing. And, like I said right here and told you guys about a Black Hawk helicopter surveying the railway bridge over here where illegals come over. So they've got him, Canada, but he says you're not doing enough. And so who's right? Trump about all the drugs and everything else, or the RCMP and in Canada? Well, I'd say I have to back Trump and the RCMP telling us what's really going on out there, not Trudeau and the 10 premiers. I mean, you got to ask who runs these cartels. How do you explain 4,000 crime families getting away with producing only 43 pounds of fentanyl? I mean, you kidding me? They couldn't make enough money to make it worthwhile. So, how much is really being made by these guys compared to how much is caught? Let's face it, 4.3 pounds of fentanyl isn't going to keep a cartel going or a crime family going. So, it's a lot more than that, probably 430 tons. Probably. This 43 pounds is just the tip of the iceberg. Just the tip of the iceberg. And they've been getting away with it all this time. Where was Canada stopping this before? That's why Trump's mad. That's why Trump's mad. So, yeah, he's mad. Yeah, he wants to stop it. And that's the big thing he wants to do right now. Kills over 100,000 people in the United States every year. Yeah, and a lot in Canada, too. Why wouldn't a country want to stop it? But they never did until they were forced by Trump. So he's telling them, you got to stop this. You're not doing enough. And as soon as they do, then most likely they will shut this down. They will. They'll take off the tariffs. They'll shut the tariffs down, open the borders like they used to. And Canada will have the border protected the way it should be, whether it's ports coming into Canada, the seaports, airports, any ports where people are entering in and shipping goods in, the warehouses, the border ports with trucks loaded with stuff. That's what he wants to see Canada control. What can you say? The guy wants to protect his country. It's make America great again. And I wish we had the same attitude, make Canada great again from everybody here too. I mean, they're more interested in calling Trump names than working with him, and that's sad. That's sad. But Trump isn't stopping at our border. I mean, the repercussions of the little dust up he had with Zelensky last week are still being felt around the world, really. Once the Ukrainians decide what they want to do, whether they want to continue with a never ending war or they want to go for peace, Trump is revoking the legal status of all Ukrainians that fled to the U.S. as refugees. The ones that escaped the Ukraine to come to the United States as refugees, well, he's revoking all those legal statuses. And that amounts to approximately 250,000 people. And they're going back. You're out of here. And that's just the tip of the 1.8 million migrants who were allowed to seek legal asylum in the U.S. under temporary humanitarian parole launched under Biden. Now, the White House is saying, well, that's not quite true. He hasn't really signed that yet. No firm decision has been made, but I saw him on TV and he was saying they're going. But it does sound like a very Trumpian thing to do, so I wouldn't doubt it at all. And, Canada should do the same thing. Don't forget, we have 1.2 million people here that came here on temporary visas. We don't know where they are. We don't know who they are, where they are, and we got to get rid of them. They got to go home. It's over. Their visas are up. But is anybody talking about it or anybody looking to get them out of here? There's another 50,000 with student visas who never attended one day at class. They've never gone to school. That's what they're here on student visas. They have not set foot in any school in Canada. Where the heck are they? 20,000 of them are from India. Where are they? Where are these people? They're in Canada somewhere. Probably 1.5 million of them are in Canada, just wandering around, doing whatever. Maybe they're stealing cars. Maybe they're breaking into jewelry stores. Maybe they're robbing LCBOs. Whatever they're doing, there's nobody picking them up. And if it was me, I had my choice. I'd take all the Palestinian refugees that are here. There's a ceasefire over there, which we'll talk about in a minute. That thing's gonna blow up tomorrow. But there's a ceasefire over there right now. They can go home and help to rebuild their country. Get back there. Get back there and rebuild your country. What the heck? What are you doing here still? There's no reason for you to be here. So they should go too. Now, Trump has also paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine, a move that takes the U.S. closer to its demand for an end to the war immediately and ups the pressure on the Ukraine to bring this war to a peaceful conclusion. No intelligence for them, no weapons for them. Trump's pulling out of NATO. It's all over. And now the Ukraine wants to sign the mine deal. They haven't yet, but they want to, they said, which is good. Good. After all that dust up in the White House, they're going to sign the agreement anyway, which is what Zelensky should have done. And I guess his parliament had to threaten to impeach him to get him to do it. So, talking about the Middle East, while we're here, over to the Middle East, Trump has drawn the line in the Gaza sand. Hamas is going to release all prisoners by noon on Saturday, or all hell is going to break loose. Trump has told them no more of this trickle, 2 here, 3 there, 4 there. Trump had seen the prisoners, and he said they're in bad shape. Very, very bad shape. And because of that, he said, I'm not fooling around anymore. I'm not playing patty cake with these guys anymore. They're going to release them all by noon on Saturday. And if they don't release them, all hell's going to break loose. He goes, Israel's got the green light to go in there and wipe them out, kill them all, kill all Hamas, and get those prisoners back and use any means you need to do it. Now, Trump also said that, he's going to tell them they can do that. Whether they do it or not, that's up to them. It's in their wheelhouse, not his. But he's given the green light, and he's given Hamas the warning. And now, if they don't do it, they could have some major problems on their hands. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But no fooling around. No fooling around anymore. And then in this whole ball of wax, China's speaking up. Everybody's speaking up. Canada putting reciprocal tariffs. The European Union joining together, undermining Trump's peace agreement and saying they're going to get together and they're going to support Ukraine to the end and put boots on the ground if they have to. Now, wouldn't that be great? You start sending troops over there. Can you imagine what's going to happen? Start sending troops over there? Oh boy. Oh, you got a war on your hands. Like World War III. In China now, they want in on the tariff action and have vowed that it will wage a stiff tariff war. And they added, or any kind of war for that matter. Any war the U.S. wants to wage, they're going to get involved in with China. And we'll fight to the death. So I don't know what kind of threat this is or what this means. But it's kind of throwing down the gauntlet. And all the more reason for Trump to expand the military and get that Iron Dome over the United States, which I think it's the Iron Dome in the United States is going to come from Space Force. It doesn't come from ground missiles like in Israel. It's going to come from Space Force. Those things that Musk is launching, all those satellites, thousands of them. I don't think they're just for people's internet and entertainment. There's a little bit more to those than meets the eye that we don't know about. But yeah, they're throwing down the gauntlet. China, they're not fooling around. If you put tariffs on us, we're going to hit you back with more tariffs and back and forth. And if you want a war, hey, we'll go for it. Whatever kind of war you want, we're going to be involved. We're going to take you up on it. So there you go. Oh man, it's wacky up there. The world is a crazy place right now, and you never know what's going to happen from day to day. It never ends. The news never ends. It's hard to keep up. Hard to keep up to Trump. He's doing so much at once here. He's got it all going on. All going on. Getting rid of terrorists, getting rid of people. Department of Defense says he's going into Mexico and to blow the hell out of the laboratories that are producing fentanyl. And it looks like Scheinbaum isn't shy to say, "Go ahead, we need help. They're taking over the country. They run us." So this is going to get interesting. Just hang tough. We've only been into this for 5 weeks with Trump. We got 4 more years to go, which is fantastic. Can't wait. Okay, did anybody watch this SpaceX thing yesterday? The launch? It still blows my mind, this whole thing. Every time I watch it, it blows my mind. And I'm going to get to that in a minute after I get to my third sponsor, Hamel Machine Company. And believe me, if NASA or Musk needed any parts to be made, anything to be done, I can tell you, Hamel Machine Shop, they could do it. They've been around since 1948 in Niagara Falls, serving local industry and taking care of them. Really, every city needs a machine shop to help local industry because their parts break. They need things repaired. They need things fixed. And they don't have their own machine shops to do it. So what do? They depend on Hamel Machine Shop. That's where they send their stuff. And whether it's a city, municipality, region, it doesn't matter. When they have things that need to be fixed right away, a lot of times they can't wait for a part to come in from Germany or anywhere else. They need it now because it shuts down production. So what do? They go to Hamel. They fix it right up for them, get it out, and away they go. They're good to go. But they don't serve big industry. That's not all they serve. That's not all they serve. They'll serve the little guy. You got something around your house that needs to be fixed. Hamel Machine Shop is the place to take it. They'll fix it for you, weld it for you. They'll actually build you a new piece if you need it. I mean, they're that good. They can design. They can do everything. Innovate, design, create. 3D. They have 3D printers that can print out parts. They have water jet cutters to cut parts out. They have the IT guys there and programmers that can create the programs to do it. And they're innovators. They make parts to make jobs easier in industry like Rich Products or all the wineries or agricultural, what do you call hydroponics, that kind of plant growth, plants, right? Plants and that kind of thing. They have machines that can harvest them that they've invented. It's amazing what they do over there. Hamel Machine Company, local, 1948, can help you with anything you need. Give them a call today. Go to their website, hamelmachine.ca. Oh boy, I still never look. I get home and I'm supposed to look this up and I keep forgetting. So my apologies. Hamelmachine.ca, hamelmachine.com. Go to Google and Google it. You'll find them easy. They're right there, front and center when you put in Hamel. But support our sponsors because they support them. And whatever you need done, give Hamel a call. They're great guys. They're going to help you out there. Bunch of good people over there. Tell them Paul from Your City, Your Voice sent you. So back to the SpaceX launch. I watched it and everything went off perfectly. The booster, and they're calling it a heavy booster now. They made some dimension changes on it, so because they want to go to Mars with it, so they're testing it in different phases. And it got up there, it separated perfectly. And this thing, when it separates, flies right back to the gantry it took off on. And they have these big arms. They call them chopsticks. And when the thing comes down, these things close, and this thing settles right down into it. Like just settles down, and they catch it, and it sits there. This big giant booster. It's amazing. It's out of Buck Rogers. It blows my mind every time I see it. You never get sick of watching that. But they had problems with the module on top of it. It got out there, its engines fired, then something happened, and it ended up blowing, disintegrating, and coming down over the Bahamas. It was quite the light show for anybody who lived in Florida, the Bahamas, Dominican maybe saw it, Cuba, and of course it burned up in the atmosphere, and that's the second failure in a row for Musk. But it's to be expected. I mean, these are experimental projects he's working on right now because he wants to go to Mars by 2030. Now he wants to send a unmanned mission to Mars by 2026. And then if everything goes right and they make it there and back, then he's going to send a manned mission to Mars by 2030. That's his timeline. So he's going to go through this learning phase where things have to be just right. You don't want to be putting people on something that isn't perfect, right? I mean, anything can happen at any time. We saw that with the space shuttle, with Challenger. But at the end of the day, he wants to make sure things are right. So they're continually tweaking things during these tests and seeing what works and what don't work. The only way you can learn what doesn't work is by having it not work. Then you can fix it and eventually get it to work, just like this booster that comes back. It comes back to the gantry and they can reuse it again quick. So testing phase, don't get mad at Elon Musk. He's getting it. But man, I hope I'm around. I hope I'm around when he finally gets a mission to Mars. That's only 5 years away. It's got to live another 5 years. God willing, I make it. I want to see this. We waited a long time for Mars. Everybody talked about Mars, just like they talked about the moon. And now there's a real possibility that it's going to happen. And I'd like to be here when it does. Come on, give me a few more years. You never know, right? You never know. Okay, so I have my Doge agents around town. Gary Wilkins is heading the Doge department. And we've got people posted around town watching the city workers and what the hell they're doing. We want to see what kind of production we're getting out of these guys and girls. We need Doge to save taxpayers money. So it's not just about programs and making them more efficient. It's about saving money for the city. Us taxpayers, we should be paying zero, nothing, nada. But yet we've been hit by 23% increases in the last 4 years. So we need Doge. We need people to look into every department. Well, we can't do that without the approval of somebody somewhere. So what we can do is watch them. Now, what would you out there in video land, what would you do to save the city money? Where do you want to look? Where do you think you can find efficiencies? You've been here long enough. You know all the departments. Where do you think we can find efficiencies in this city? There's efficiencies to be had, lots of them. Well, where are we going to look? Well, I'm going to give you some of mine and a couple of suggestions. Gary Wilkins came up with the Doge agents on the street watching what's going on. And mine, agree with them or disagree with them, that's up to you. And I've said them before, but we'll review them now. And then I want to add to this list. And it's coming from you guys out there. As I think of things and see city council meetings, I'll put some stuff down. But I want my Doge agents out in the streets, find ways to save money. Give me suggestions. So here's mine. Stop the $17 million NST trail immediately. That's $17 million. Immediately cut the $700,000 to the Innovation Hub, $17.7 million. Immediately cut $3.4 million to $3.6 million to the police, Niagara Regional Police, for the casino patrol. Listen, we pay a huge amount into the $213 million budget they passed, which was, I think, 13.2% more than last year. We pay a big chunk of it. It goes by how big your city is and how much of their service you need. And then we get penalized another 3.4 to 3.6 million over 2024 because they're patrolling the casino. I call this baloney, nonsense, and we have to get rid of it. It's a deal the Penguins struck. 18% of whatever we take in from the casino goes to the police. No, got to get rid of that. That's got to go. Stop the $350,000 wasteful spending on non-essential items like that $25,000 ping pong table. That's got to go. Reduce city staff by 30 to 50%. I do not believe we need that much staff. They've hired 57 more people over the last 2 years. I do not think we need all these people. I think there's a more efficient way to run the city than we're running it. And we've got to look into that department for sure. Convert the exchange into a useful entity like a medical center owned and operated by the city. It's producing nothing. People are leaving it. There's nothing going on. $17 million it cost us to build it. Now it's time to use it to our advantage and make money from it. And you make money by turning it into a medical exchange, the medical exchange, and do what John Ringo Beam in the city of Aurelia said, set up doctors that work for the city to take care of our residents who need doctors. We need doctors more than a walking trail. Invest money into that. Build it and they will come. We got to do something with that building. We got to make revenue from it. It's been a white elephant, $17 million cost, maybe more. Let's start making money from it. Deep dive our biggest department, the fire department. We really need somebody to go into the fire department and check for efficiencies. Now, I'm not saying there are any, but I know for sure that we could probably find $5 million if we really try. Maybe we won't. I don't know, but until somebody goes in there and does it, we're not going to know. And I think if somebody went in there and checked it out and came up with some recommendations, they could do it. Now, from John Ringo Beam, rental property inspectors could bring in millions. So you get a couple of guys that go around and just deal with rental properties. There's lots of them in the city. Let's find out who owns them. Let's find out if they're keeping their building up and they're paying to be Airbnbs or whatever the hell else they're running out of there. And if they're not, then we find them and make them get a license or get licensed. And if they are, then we want to make sure the properties are up to standard. There's money to be made here. And I know Jody Burdett said the other way to make a lot of money is to take some of these surplus lands that we have. And John Ringo Beam said this before too, and sell those surplus lands. And you know what? Revenue coming in is the same as saving money. Saving money is the same as cutting. Cutting brings more money in. And of course, he wants to bring Holdco under the city umbrella so it can be doged and find the loans and slush money. And you know that's a mysterious entity that Holdco. Board of directors are city council. They all get $4,000, $5,000 each to sit on the board. We wouldn't need them anymore, so we'd save right there 8 times $5,000, $40,000, $35,000, $40,000 right off the bat if the city took it over. Plus, because now it's a public entity, it's under the city umbrella, we get to see the books. We'd see exactly what's going on with it. We'd see exactly what's going on with it. And that's what we need to do there. That's the big mystery. Nobody knows. At City Council, they asked about the sale of the Niagara Regional Broadband to Cogeco, which money went into Holdco. And the Penguins said we can't see the books until the board says we can. Now, in that meeting at City Council, everybody's sitting around the table are board members because they're City Council. And we can't see these? We got to know what we got for Niagara Regional Broadband. We need full disclosure. We need transparency. The city owns 75% of it. And when I say the city, I'm talking about you and me and the taxpayers. So Holdco has to come under the city umbrella, and we got to see the books. No baloney around. No BSing around. We got to do it. So there's a list. And I'll keep that list. And then what I'm going to do is add to it as you out there in Video Land or on Radio Land. You can message me. It doesn't matter. And we'll start writing them down. We'll form our own Doge. Form our own Doge here. So next Monday, Manic Monday. Lots going to be going on this weekend. We got the deadline at noon tomorrow for the Hamas to let go all the hostages. That's going to be interesting. And who knows what the heck else is going to happen by then. There's announcements every minute of every day. You cannot keep up to it coming from Trudeau, who shouldn't even be in power anymore. They're telling him to get prorogue, to end the prorogue. They're looking to end the prorogue and have an election, because as soon as they come back, they're going to get rid of him. They're gonna definitely give him a vote of non-confidence and call an election. Got to get rid of that. Got to get everybody back. And he's crying on TV. This little kook, right? He's crying on TV and everything else. It's crazy. I can't keep up to it. It's hard to keep up to. Now, please support our sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company. They support us. Let's support them. What else we got going on? Let's have a great weekend out there. Time goes ahead. Don't forget, turn your clocks ahead. Saturday at 2 a.m. They're going ahead. So that means another hour of daylight. Yeah, it's going to get dark at 7:30 at night. 7:30 at night. More daylight means the sun has a chance to melt all this white stuff. The meteor crater is bare. There's nothing left in it. And I would advise anybody with a metal detector to run down to the meteor crater and start detecting, because I see guys in there all the time picking stuff up off the ground. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't have a metal detector, but there's something in there that's popping up to the surface. Who knows what? Probably chemicals and contaminants. But if you got a minesweeper, if you got a metal detector, come on down. Walk the meteor crater. It's been there for hundreds of years. There's been all kinds of people doing stuff there. You probably find money and everything in there. Most likely, you're probably going to get tar in your shoes, but whatever. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with this, everybody. If you want peace, you don't talk to your friends. You talk to your enemies. Desmond Tutu said that. If you want peace, you don't talk to your friends, you talk to your enemies. That's what Trump is doing, talking to Putin. Let's get this done and stop all the nonsense. My name is Paul Killamere. This is your City, Your Voice, coming to you from the studios of 4680Q Radio, downtown Niagara Falls. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you on Monday with Manic Monday. God bless you all, and be safe out there. Please turn your clocks ahead so you get my show on time. You're not behind. Ciao, ciao for now. Don't be a chooch.